Hi church, this is the thing we do where we try and fill in the blanks in the story of Joseph that we can't cover on a Sunday. So last time, if you were with us on Sunday, if you're listening, we saw Joseph becoming basically prime minister of the land of Egypt, and there's a great famine happening. And then next week we'll pick it up with Joseph meeting his brothers, the ones who threw him in a well all those weeks and years in the story ago. And this is what happens in between, and there's a lot of toing and froing. Well, there's just kind of 2.5 journeys backwards and forwards between Canaan, where Joseph's brothers live and Joseph is from, and Egypt. So we're going to see that now, and just a couple of things to pick up on as we look at Genesis 42. The first is this guy Benjamin here. Now Benjamin is the last son of Jacob. So Jacob had 12 sons, remember, and he had that with 4 different women. But the first of those women was a woman called Rachel, who's Jacob's beloved wife. He had another wife he didn't love so much, but Jacob's loved Rachel the most. Again, the Bible, this is a bad thing in the Bible. It's not good that he picked a wife over the other, but he did. After Joseph dies, he's the son of Rachel. Benjamin's the only other son of Rachel left. And so he treats Benjamin as the best, almost his only son. The other kids don't really count. So of the 12 kids, he thinks Joseph, his favourite son's dead, Benjamin's taken over, and the other 10 are kind of just his other 10 sons. So when it comes to get grain, they find out about grain, Benjamin is kept back at home. So he has Benjamin at home, and he sends off 10 of his other sons down into Egypt. And down they go with a bunch of silver to buy grain. There they meet Joseph, and Joseph sees them, and Joseph has a plan. He is going to pretend that they're spies, and he's going to use this reason to interrogate them. So he finds out all about their background, where they're from. He finds out his other brother Benjamin's still alive, and his dad's still alive. But he doesn't reveal his identity at this point. He keeps it secret from them, because why would they expect to see Joseph as prime minister? That's crazy. So they have no idea it's him. And Joseph says to them, right, I believe you're spies, and I'll only trust you if you bring your brother Benjamin back to me to prove you're telling me the truth. So you can go away, go take your grain back with you, but your brother Simeon has to stay here. He's locked up in jail. And if you want him back, and if you want more grain, you're going to have to come back with your brother Benjamin later on. So they return back to Jacob with their grain. They also find out they've been given all their money back. All the silver's come back with them, which they're worried about because they think, oh no, he's going to think we robbed it off him. But they return to Jacob. They tell us to Jacob, here's what his response is. You have deprived me of my children. Joseph's no more. Simeon's no more. And now you want to take Benjamin. Everything is against me. And then Jacob says this is brutal. My son will not go down there with you. His brother is dead, and he is the only one left. See, he's saying Benjamin's my only son. Again, terrible, terrible parenting from Jacob. He has 10 and 11 sons right now, plus Joseph he's unaware of, but he thinks Benjamin's his only son. So ends chapter 42. But we get to chapter 43, and there's a famine still going on, and now they've got no food left. And his brothers beg him and say, look, let us go down to Egypt. We will bring Benjamin with us, and then we'll get Simeon back and get all the food back. And Jacob says, why are you doing this? Why are you troubling me? But Judah, who's the kind of the fourth in line of the sons, but also kind of the leader, says, look, if the boy comes with me, I will guarantee his safety. I'll be personally responsible for him. I will look after and take care of him. And so the father says, fine. So they all go down. So now 11 of the kids are going down, and they're bringing all the silver with them, plus the silver they had originally that was given back to them, plus a bunch of gifts to try and placate this Prime Minister Joseph guy. And so they head back, and they see Joseph there. And Joseph is showing Benjamin, and Joseph's delighted at this. There's rejoicing, there's happiness. Again, he's not telling who he is, but Joseph looks after them all, takes care of them, gives them a big feast and celebration, happy, all that sort of stuff. And then he sends them on their way with loads of grain. But on the way back, Joseph sends his soldiers after them, because it turns out that he's given them back the grain, but also their silver, and also he's hidden a silver cup in the bags of Benjamin. So the soldiers turn up and say, hey, one of you stolen the cup. And they go, of course we haven't stolen the cup, that's ridiculous. They search the cups, and they search the bags, find out the cup is inside Benjamin's bag, and at this there's a great mourning and lamenting, because they realise that Benjamin is going to be taken back. So they go back to Egypt and say to Joseph, look, don't harm Benjamin. He says, well, I have to do something to him. He stole my cup. You guys are free to go. Take your grain, take your silver, go back to your land. I have no problem with you. It's Benjamin I have a problem with. At this point, Judah says this great thing. What Judah says is amazing though, because remember, Judah originally was part of the crew who sold him down to slavery, and Judah, we saw, was living really immorally with sleeping around earlier on. But he says, now look, we can't go back without the boy. If we go back without the boy, my father, whose life is bound up with the boy, will surely die. I can't do that to my dad. I can't do that to my brother. Tell you what, please let your servant remain here as my Lord's slave in place of the boy, and let the boy return with his brothers. He's saying, let me be your servant, and let this guy go back. Let Benjamin return back, and I will be there instead. You see how completely changed it is. Before it's throw off, get rid of Joseph, sell him out the way, and now he's saying, I will die for Joseph. I will die for Benjamin. I'll go in his place. He's gone from being very un-Christ-like to being incredibly Christ-like. The transformation that's been wrought in his heart. Now, in one sense, there's no real punchline here. The punchline comes in the next bit, which John's going to preach to us on Sunday. So you have to wait and see for that. But that's just a bit there, filling in that story.